Insta360 sent over their brand new One RS modular action camera. We got a new core mod on there, new 4K mod, brand new battery, new housing in general, and of course the 360 mod. And today I'm gonna test this camera out, show you guys what it can do. And Insta360 also sent over a dune buggy. Look at this little dune buggy they sent over to test with the camera. Thank you, Insta360. Let's see what this thing can do. Insta360, thank you very much for the RC car. I think I can do better though. Insta360 sent me an RC car to use for this video, but instead we're gonna use that. This is better than an RC car.
It's better.
It's better.
It's better. I just
All right, Glamis Dunes. Let's see what this thing can do. That was so much dang fun. A massive thank you to my brother-in-law Trent. That is his side-by-side razor, his truck, it's all of his stuff. I was just along for the ride, so a massive thank you to Trent. That was a really fun day. Okay, into the Insta360 One RS. We're doing a first look at this camera today. We're gonna check out everything that's new with it, go over some pros, go over some cons, and do a little bit of a comparison with the original Insta360 One R. So we'll talk a little bit about how these are different, what is new with this guy, and yeah, just, you know, general first look. Before I jump into that though, hit that like button below, super helpful for me, totally free to do for you, and thank you. Okay, the Insta360 One RS, one of the first things that I think a lot of people are gonna wonder is, do the original mod parts work with the new mod parts? And the answer is yes, which does mean that the original 1-inch sensor with that Leica lens on there will work with the new camera. And if you wanted to, you could also swap out your old 360 mod. You could also swap out all of your old batteries. Maybe you're someone like me that went and got a whole bunch of batteries for your original 1R. All of these batteries will work with the new core and new lens, even though this battery is a new battery. We'll talk about that battery in a minute, but first, check out the new heart of the camera, which is this guy, the new 4K boost lens, and it's really good. We now have a 1/2-inch sensor in this mod, which means better low light performance, up to 6K in widescreen video, and 48 megapixel photos. Look at the photos that come out of this camera. This photo right here is completely straight out of the camera, no edits, no nothing. Take a photo, put it on the screen for you guys. That's what 48 megapixels looks like. on the new One RS. The new 4K lens also has new active HDR for sports, and we move from an f2.8 to the new f2.4, and we move from what is a 16.4 millimeter equivalent viewing angle to a 16 millimeter equivalent. So a tiny bit wider and about a third stop more light on the aperture end. But what really excites me is this guy. This is the new One RS Core Mod, and new Core Mod means new processor, new brains, a all around just snappier performance, like moving through the screens is much snappier, taking photos, shooting video, everything in the screens is much, much faster now. And with that new processor, we're also getting an improved in-camera flow state stabilization, which means now you can skip that whole process of offloading files to get that higher level of stabilization. It now just does it in the camera. And with that built-in flow state, we can now go up to 4K 60, get 2x slow motion built into the camera. Again, we don't have to worry about offloading files to the Insta360 app. And then lastly, on that core mod, there's now 3 microphones, and the microphone on top is specifically designed for wind, and it marries with the brand new mounting cage. And as you slide this guy in here, this mic port right here, that hole right there, underneath it is a built-in wind foam. Let's see if you can see this. You see that little wind foam right there? It's just a little foamy bit that covers the mic port. And when I slide this in there, that microphone is underneath that wind muff. So we have a microphone that's designed for wind to kind of give a better sound, a better tone within windy environments, and a little foamy windscreen over it. That's pretty dope. All right, bit of a wind test here with the new One RS from Insta360. We've got an extra microphone on top that's specifically designed to deal with wind, and a little wind muff built into the case. How does the One RS sound with a whole lot of wind and quite a bit of waves versus the One R? The original One R doesn't have that extra microphone and no wind muff. How does the One R sound? And back to the One RS. How does the One RS sound? But speaking of this mounting bracket, the mounting bracket is new also. You see it's got this like side flip action now. The original One R had kind of the old school like top open, and then you open that, and then this would come down, and then you could get the camera out like that. And now we've got this new guy that is a side door access. So you just squeeze these 2 bits, this door pops open, and then you can just slide out the camera sideways. And supposedly this helps with heat dissipation because it doesn't cover the camera so much. But one thing that I noticed right away was that on the original One R, if you were using the 1-inch mod, you had to unscrew this front cap to get it into the case. I'll show you, hold on. You would get it in here, but then you couldn't close the door. So you had to unscrew the lens cover, then you could close the door, and then you could screw back on the lens cover. A bit frustrating if you're changing your battery a lot, you're taking the camera out of the cage a few times a day. I don't know, just kind of was annoying. Boom, now we have the 1-inch edition with the new core mod, with the new battery mod, and with the new case. Instead of having to do the door thing, it just slides in from the side, and it's in there. And then when you want to take it out, you just open the door and you pull it out. For those of you that are using the 1-inch mod, this is a significantly better mounting cage. And then lastly, new on the One RS is the battery itself. So this is a brand new battery. It has a bit more of a texture on it. See if you can you tell there's a bit of a texture on there? Just a little bit. But it is also just the tiniest bit thicker. Like, let's see if I can show you, hang on. Can you see that it is a tiny bit thicker than the original One R battery? That is because we now have 21% more battery in this guy. Now, all the old batteries, they do still work with this camera, and they still do fit in the cage. I know I said that the battery is a teeny tiny bit thinner, but when you slide it in there, it still fits. See, it fits in there just fine. It doesn't rattle around or move, even though the battery is a little thinner. So somehow this cage adapts to the 2 different size batteries. Because again, if I go back to the bigger battery, it's just a bit thicker, and I guess it fits a little snugger in there, but they both fit great, which is sweet because again, I have a bunch of the original One R batteries. I hate when new action cameras switch batteries and you gotta go buy a bunch of batteries again. That's the worst. So these do work, but the new one is mo better. Okay, that is everything that is new with the new One RS camera. Let's pop this 1-inch lens out of there because that is not new. Same 1-inch lens. Let me find, nope, not you, not you, you. the One RS, new 4K boost lens, new RS core mod, and a new battery with 21% more battery life. And the 360 mod is, I think, the same. It looks a little different. The 360 mod on the original, see the 360 mod on the original, it doesn't have like a textured coating around the lens, and then the 360 mod on the new one has a bit of a textured coating, but that's it. I can't figure out any other difference. I think that this mod is the exact same, which is great because this mod is amazing, and you guys know how much I love 360 footage. The same 5.7K mod, but with a new processor, just means that we are getting better footage out of the same lens, which again is kind of the original reason why I was so excited on this version of a modular camera, because the processor, the lens, and the battery are all separate. So I can switch in different lenses. I can go from a 4K camera to a 1-inch sensor, then flop over to a 360 camera. And again, today is just a first look of the One RS. You saw the footage from the dunes, you saw some of the footage down at the beach. What are my initial thoughts on this camera? There's pros and there's cons. The biggest pro being that it is modular and can be a 4K action camera and a 360 5.7K action camera within one system. So again, I'm sharing batteries, I'm sharing lenses, I'm sharing the same brackets. Everything within one system can be both cameras. Now, I'm somebody that buys a bunch of cameras, but you might be somebody that is just looking for one camera, but you do like the idea of doing 360, but you also want to be able to flip to just a normal filming mode, something you can go out, you can film, you can transfer to your phone, or flip to your computer, start editing right away. You don't want to go through the whole 360 process, but every once in a while, you do. If that's you, then this might be the perfect camera. Also, you only have to pack one set of batteries for your 4K camera and 360 camera because it's the same camera. Whereas me, I have separate cameras, which means 2 sets of batteries that I have to make sure are charged for whatever adventure we go on. This simplifies things greatly. The second major pro for me being that I can swap out different portions of the camera if they were to, say, get damaged, like I already did to the new 360 mod that I just got. Can you see that little scratch on the lens? I know I should have been using lens. You should always use lens guards if you are shooting with a 360 camera because the lenses are the most fragile part of the camera. And I don't usually put lens guards on, which you should, but I don't a lot, and I always scratch my cameras at some point. It's not if, it's when. And the nice thing with the One R is that I can purchase a brand new 360 mod and swap that in, or like I am doing, I can take my old 360 mod from my One R, since it's the same, and swap that into the new core, the new battery, and it works great. Again though, put lens guards on. You should always have lens guards on. And then the third major pro for me is that this camera is sort of future-proofed in a way, right? So if they come out with a new lens, like here's the 1-inch mod that came out after the original one was released, the 1-inch mod comes out and I can keep my same core mod, I can keep my same batteries. I just buy a new lens for this camera, slap it in there, and boom, I have new capabilities because of one mod swapped out. I don't have to go buy a whole new camera. So those are my main 3 pros. What are my cons? The first one, obviously, is you only have one screen. Now the screen can go backwards or forwards. So right now I have it in kind of like rear mode, or it's on the rear, and then I can pop that out, I can swap that around. Now I have a front-facing screen, but I can't have both screens at the same time. So I wish, and I hope that in the future we will get a core mod that has a screen on the back and a screen on the front, so that I can take this camera and I can film with it in that front screen mode, and then when I want, flip it around and film this way, and then flip it back around, and I have a screen on both sides. Right now, we only have one screen, and I have to decide before I put it into the cage, is it a front screen or is it a rear screen? And then my last con is on the 4K mod. So this 4K mod, I honestly thought that I was gonna get this camera and just put the 1-inch mod on there and go, but the 4K mod is actually super impressive and I really like it. But there's no replaceable lens cover. So this lens cover, you can't swap out. It has glass on the front, so it is strong, but if I scratch this, if it hits the ground for some reason, the mod is just dead. I'd have to send the mod back to Insta360 to get that replaced because there's no way to user replace the lens cover, which bums me out. I will probably end up getting a glass screen protector. I ended up getting one of those for the DJI Action 2 because that one doesn't have a replaceable lens cover either. So there's like a glass sticky piece basically that sticks on there. Not ideal. Again, I just wish that that was something I could just twist and pop off and pop another one on, have a couple of those in my bag just in case this guy got scratched. And on the 4K boost lens, no go. Okay, that is it for today. That is the Insta360 One RS first look. I will do plenty more videos with this camera, comparing it to a bunch on that wall back there. Let me know in the comments below which camera you want to see it compared to first. And in general, what do you think of this new modular action camera? Is modularity the way to go for action cameras in the future? This can be a 4K camera. It can be a 5.7K 360 camera, and it can be a 1-inch sensor action camera. There's a lot of potential in this one system. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I will talk to you soon. Wah-wah.